Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us here at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. I'm Captain Matthew Gregory, and joining me here on our flight line is a woman who is well known in the air show world, Emmy award-winning journalist and MC, Steph Strickland.
This is absolutely the best set I have ever been on. It's not every day you have a $100 million backdrop. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thanks.
2020 has been a unique year for many of us across the country, and with COVID-19 continuing to impact us all, this year, Marine Corps Air Station Miramar was regrettably forced to cancel the Miramar Airshow. It's only the third time that our base has shuttered the show since the Marine Corps took over here in 1997, and it was certainly a decision we did not want to have to make. Even so, we wanted to find a way to continue the tradition of our air show and bring you the same spirit with some new storytelling. We've affectionately titled this program 2020 Vision because we want to take a look at some of the years past, this current year, and our 2021 show that's yet to come. And we're going to do that through the lens of the performers that you've come to know and love through this show.
You are about to meet one of the industry's absolute finest. He is incredibly talented and equally humble. He flies the Red Bull BO-105 helicopter, doing maneuvers that no helicopter should. This is his story.
My name's Aaron Fitzgerald, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to fly the Red Bull helicopter in the United States. I started flying helicopters in 1994, right when I got out of the Army. When I was in the Army, I wasn't a helicopter pilot. I was an enlisted paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division, and I was an artillery specialist. But when I got out, that's when I went to flight school in Long Beach, California, and started flying there. And when I finished training, I went right into flying news helicopters and got into camera work. Kind of gave way to more aerial production, film and television type work, and that's how I initially connected with Red Bull. I was filming a lot of their other projects and that, and then in 2016, at the beginning of 2016, their aerobatic airshow performer retired, and they asked me if I wanted to take the job over, and of course I said yes. For me, there was no choice. It was only helicopters. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do from the time I was a little kid. Never consciously made the decision to go fly helicopters. It's just where I was headed from day one. I always wanted to do that. So even though that school that I went to, Everything Flyable, had the choice of fixed wing and rotary wing, for me, I didn't even see the airplanes. I went straight for the helicopters and built my career in helicopters. Later on, 5-6 years ago, I started flying airplanes, and now I love it, but my career's been built on helicopters. So I was lucky. I trained under the master of helicopter aerobatics, a guy named Rainer Wilke, who's still one of our guys. He's the guy who trained all the Red Bull pilots. So there are 5 of us total, and he's the first one, and he trained the subsequent 4 pilots, of which I'm one of those guys. So I learned from him, and he's been doing it since 1984. Been flying BO-105s, this aircraft, since 1974, and performing since 1984 continuously. And he's probably the best helicopter pilot that ever flew. The challenge in learning aerobatics was trying to unlearn all the muscle memory and the reflexes that I had built up over 20 plus years of flying helicopters and trying to keep them right side up. So to take the controls and go all the way to the stops is really, really unheard of for helicopter pilots. I had never done that before, so I had to really teach myself that it was okay to push the controls as far as you need to do the aerobatics. So that was a big hurdle to overcome for me, just to kind of let go of everything I knew and felt about helicopters and learn to fly them in a completely new way. My military experience had a huge positive impact on the way I've lived my life and what I've done since then. The skill sets aren't necessarily transferable. There's not a whole lot of call for artillery in the civilian world, but what did transfer is the organizational skills, the determination, focus, being organized, being able to get the most out of a day, and also learning how to take the first steps toward a larger goal. Those are military values that I believe that have helped me a lot. I was pretty disorganized mentally and physically before I joined the Army, so that experience was perfect for me and helped me really focus my mind and my energy on my goals ahead. So I use those values and those tools every day. COVID-19 has had a huge negative impact on the whole year, like it has for everybody. Essentially, we lost the whole air show season. As of right now, we have one, maybe two that are still on the schedule, but there's a really high likelihood that those will cancel too. So essentially, we've stood down for the whole season, which is really sad. You know, I'm bummed that I don't get to go do what I do, and I really miss flying in front of people and showing everybody the Red Bull helicopter. But obviously, other people are impacted more heavily and more negatively, and people are sick and losing their lives. So when you put it all in perspective, we're all pretty lucky. But you know, it's sad to not be out there doing what we do. That's for sure. I've tried to use the downtime to practice and stay current and get out there and, you know, keep the skills sharp and everything like that. But the pace of practice has been a little lightened because we don't have the pressure of doing a show every week. So it's been more casual. It was a huge honor to perform at Miramar. You know, it's a pretty famous place in the aviation world. Obviously, they filmed the original Top Gun there, so it was cool to be there and see all that and actually see the tower that buzzed in the movie. You know, Bozo, the pilot that actually flew right past that tower. So to stand there and look at it and remember it from the movie was really cool. And it's a huge honor to be asked. It's a big show, and it's one that's, you know, prestigious and that everybody wants to fly in. So to get invited to it was an honor. It was humbling, and it's a huge honor to perform in front of all the active duty military personnel, all the men and women who are serving today, and the aviators that are out there every day doing it, you know, risking their lives, doing the dangerous, necessary work. And then we got to go there and play and show off and do what we do in air shows. And it was a huge honor, tons of fun, and a humbling experience for sure. So the highlight of Miramar for my sons who got to be there, that was a cool thing for me. My sons were there watching us perform and everything. And when we got back, I said, what was your favorite part of the Miramar Airshow? And they said the MAGTF demo. By hands down, the coolest thing they had seen all season was the MAGTF demo. My favorite part of Miramar is the people, is talking to active duty Marines that have that esprit de corps and the spirit that you guys are known for. It's fun. I wasn't a Marine, but I recognize what makes the Marines great and what makes the Marines special. So to work with you guys and be there on base and see how you do things and work with you, that was a fun thing for me to see and be a part of, and I took away a lot of that. To me, the thing I came away with was being able to, you know, look Marines in the eye and see what they're all about and hear their stories and, you know, just talk about what we do with people who have a lot of passion for it.
An air station and an air show doesn't exist without the support of the community that works and lives besides our military members. Part of this includes the elected leaders who not only represent the community, but the military base and its activities. Representative Scott Peters is one such leader who's consistently supported his district and Miramar throughout the years.
Hi, I'm Congressman Scott Peters, and I proudly represent California's 52nd Congressional District, which includes the approximately 10,000 Marines stationed at San Diego's very own Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. San Diego looks forward to the biggest air show in the world, the MCAS Miramar Airshow, each and every year. The base welcomes about 500,000 visitors to marvel at Marine Corps aircraft and view awe-inspiring precision aerial demonstrations and static displays of F-35s, F-18s, MV-22 Ospreys, C-130s, CH-53s, vintage aircraft, and even the Blue Angels, comprised of both Navy and Marine aviators and maintenance crews. While the COVID-19 pandemic has unfortunately prevented an in-person show this year, I'm excited to welcome you today to the 2020 Vision production, highlighting MCAS Miramar's air shows of the past, the state-of-the-art aircraft based here, important community contributions, and future plans for technological advances to enhance our national security, all from the comfort and safe distance of your own home or office. This production will certainly be different from in-person shows, but the aviation, maintenance, and communication teams have worked hard to bring you a unique perspective of the work they do to keep our country safe and free, often from a somewhat unconventional office in the sky and throughout the world. As a member of Congress, I'm especially grateful for the Marines stationed here and the work MCAS Miramar does to benefit our local community. For example, during a recent heat wave, San Diego experienced some rolling blackouts as energy grids were overwhelmed with demand. MCAS Miramar stepped up to provide power generated through its renewable energy-powered microgrid to the region and prevented additional blackouts. The system also ensures that Miramar can self-sufficiently operate in an emergency. Community collaboration is key, and our local community in San Diego appreciates these civilian-military partnerships. As we look to 2021, we're all anticipating a return to normalcy and the return of next year's air show, and I can't wait. Please continue to practice social distancing, wear your masks, and wash your hands so we can all get there faster. We're all fighting this pandemic together, and we all have a role. So I hope you enjoy this program, and I hope you take a moment to appreciate the service and sacrifices of our service members and their families. And for those of you serving in uniform and military family members and veterans, thank you on behalf of a grateful nation. Stay safe and good luck.
As Representative Peters mentioned, the air show experience here is absolutely incredible, thanks in part to the F-35s that you see here behind me. But did you know that in 2020, the base here at Miramar got its very first F-35Cs as part of the VMFA 314 as they transition from the Hornet into the Lightning II. Now we have a video for you that showcases the capabilities of this jet and what it brings to the Marine Corps.
Very proud to be flying the F-35. It's the Marine Corps' newest fighter jet. It's the brand new 5th gen stealth fighter jet that is really premier across all of the services. It's leaps and bounds ahead of any other aircraft that the Marine Corps especially has flown. So I'm very privileged and honored to be a part of the program going forward. So the F-35C in particular is very critical to the Marine Corps and the MAGTF overall, primarily because it's bringing a variety of unique capabilities to the service in particular. So from enhanced data links, targeting systems, and then overall the F-35C has a significant longer time on station because of the amount of fuel that the aircraft can carry. So especially for the warfighters on the ground, the F-35C is going to be very integral to close air support missions, armed reconnaissance missions, and a variety of other air-to-ground missions, as well as when we start talking about some of the more advanced air-to-air or air-to-surface type missions that the F-35 is specifically designed for. The F-35 brings capabilities that other aircraft such as the Harrier and the F-18 were not able to bring to the fight.
It's all glass cockpit in the F-35, so that takes some a little bit getting used to. And each controlling system is almost like a video game controller, the stick and the throttle. Yeah, it's a little bit like a roller coaster, except amplified, of course. A little bit more power and a little bit more G-forces on your body that are pretty cool. I'd say just getting to feel the power of the engine behind you and the capabilities of maneuvering the jet around, just flying through the sky, and then as well as the going through the situation awareness in tactical environments is pretty cool.
Biggest difference that we have in the F-35 versus the F-18 or other platforms the Marine Corps has is the situational awareness it gives us on the battlefield. All the sensors that we have that feed in, and they say knowing is half the battle. Well, I think it's more than half the battle in the F-35 when you can know everything going on in the battle space and then be able to make the right tactical decisions. We have stealth as well, which gives us a lot of capability against our adversaries. We also employ the F-35B, which gives us the opportunity to do STOVL or short takeoff and vertical land at expeditionary airfields. So a great capability all around that the Marine Corps has between the F-35B and CNET.
Having the F-35 Charlie at our disposal increases our lethality, the opportunity for that quick strike from a long distance, especially with having the opportunity to have more fuel aboard and the Charlie platform specifically, and then being able to assist the special purpose MAGTF with an additional weapon system, being able to reach out and touch someone effectively really drives home, that fear into any adversaries.
So this has been a long process to get F-35s to Miramar. We're the first squadron here. We moved in about 5 months ago to this hangar. We initially got our first fleet F-35s at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Prior to that, they were only at test Air Force bases like Pax River, Maryland, or Edwards Air Force Base in California. The Marine Corps then moved F-35Bs to Beaufort, and then they also got them set up at Marine Corps Air Station Yuma. And so Marine Corps Air Station Miramar is one of our third bases in the continental United States. We also have them stationed at Marine Corps Air Station Iwakuni in Japan. Starting about a few years out, where they begin to look at environmental assessment, noise assessments for the local area, and just everything that we need to do to make sure that the base is ready to support the F-35s here, while also mitigating any concerns the public has. So it is a several-year-long process, and it's great to see their efforts come to fruition and now have F-35s here at Miramar.
Those that don't know, again, the F-35 is leaps and bounds above every other aircraft that the Marine Corps has ever flown. So I often use the analogy, picture old, if you know of it, the Motorola Razr phone, the digital one. This is now the jump to the iPhone 10, for example. So in almost all ways, of course, most of which we can't talk about in a public setting, the F-35 certainly is the key to success with the future battle space. So just know, for those out there, that MCAS Miramar, being the home to the F-35C and the only home to the F-35C right now, that you are supporting basically the key to success, in my opinion, for the Marine Corps going forward, especially from the tactical air perspective.
Our F-35C is one of the most unique and technologically advanced fighter aircraft in the world. It's been built on the efforts, energy, and bravery of countless men and women throughout aviation history. At the 2019 Miramar Airshow, we had the pleasure of hosting a performer who is both uniquely accomplished in and out of the cockpit, and one who celebrates and brings to modern audiences the aviation eras of days past.
When I was in college, one of my buddies came and asked me if I want to go skydiving. I'm like, yeah, sure, love to. So we went out and went skydiving, and I fell in love with skydiving. So we were jumping, and I was around the airplanes, and I came back and told my parents I have to learn to fly. And so my dad had a buddy that had a 1941 Taylorcraft, which doesn't have an electrical system. It's hand prop. It's fabric and wood airplane. And so I learned to fly in the 1941 Taylorcraft just right up the road here in Watsonville. So that's how I kind of got started in aviation. For me, I retired from my job early, like while I was not at retirement age. And I did that because you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And I wanted to pursue flying. I specifically had just gotten re-engaged in aerobatics. I wanted to spend more time flying, doing aerobatics. And I knew that I had to do it while I was young enough and fit enough to be able to do it. I couldn't wait till I actually retired at a retirement age to go pursue it. So one of the scariest things I did was quit my job, give up like a really good job to go fly contests. Well, I am really looking forward to getting back on the airshow circuit for a whole number of reasons. I mean, one of them is just flying it across the country and everybody waves at you. or I land someplace and people come to see the airplane. People love this airplane. It's 80 years old. It's a flying icon. And then getting to interact with the crowd and the little kids, that's what it's all about. Showing off our passion in the airplane, and then going on the ground and meeting the little kids and getting to spend time with them and put them in the cockpit. Hopefully, 100 kids you put in the airplane, 1 or 2 of them will become pilots. So find their passion in the air just like I did. And one of the great things about flying in general is the fact that it removes you from all worldly things, all the stress and all the things that are going on in your life on the ground. They all go away when you go up in the air. And the only thing you focus on is the flying. And just takes you away from everything and puts you in a different space, and mind space. And it's really a wonderful release to go out and fly. The steerman can't do a lot of flippy-floppy things. It rolls very slowly, but it's very graceful. And what it does very well is it can fly low to the ground, right in front of the audience. It's loud, it makes a lot of noise, a lot of smoke. And the kinds of figures that I do in the steerman are sort of reminiscent of the old style barnstorming, or what the cadets would have learned in World War II, this is a World War II trainer. So I do loops and rolls and point rolls, half Cuban 8s, full Cuban 8s, Humpty Bumps, which is a figure where you go straight up and come down, hammerheads. I do an 8-sided loop and also something called a P-loop, where I pull up and make a 3/4 of a loop and then come straight down. The aerobatics is fun because it's really a free expression of flying. So corporate flying, airline flying, all those disciplines in flying are very structured. But aerobatic flying is sort of a free artistic expression of yourself in the air. And if you can imagine it, you can try to make the plane do it. COVID-19 has pretty much totally affected our whole industry. The whole airshow season across the U.S. has been impacted. Every airshow I've had has been canceled. In terms of keeping current in the aircraft, I do go out and practice. Not as much because it's not as driven by, oh, I have a show next week, I got to go out and get practice. But I think it's important to keep up your skills. So I'm hoping that we do get a vaccine and we can go out and fly next year. One nice thing about the Miramar Airshow in particular is a huge air show. The flight line is really long, and one of the really fun things that I got to do while I was there was go around and meet the different squadrons and see their shirts and their banners and stuff that they were selling. And that was pretty cool because each of them has sort of a different logo or motto. The show gets the best performers, at least on the West Coast. And so getting to perform with all the people there, that's really an honor for me. Well, last year was the first year that I flew the Miramar Airshow. I was thrilled because I've always wanted to fly that show and hopefully into the future. I'm planning to bring a different aircraft online next year, hopefully in time to fly the show, if not the following year. So I'll be able to also mix up the acts with different aircraft. But yeah, flying's part of my blood. So COVID or no COVID, I'll be out there flying. It's just that my flying doesn't get paid for this year.
In 1997, the Marine Corps moved from El Toro down here to Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, bringing with it the largest and arguably most capable Marine Air Wing, the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing. We're proud that they call this place home, and we're also proud to enable them to fix, fly, and fight in the Indo-Pacific and beyond.
Hello everyone, my name is Major General Chris Mahoney. I'm the Commanding General of the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing, headquartered here at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. And I'd like to welcome you to the greatest virtual air show on the planet. 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing is home to 45 squadrons and a wide variety of aircraft. We fly everything from the AH-1Z helicopter to the airplane I fly, the F-35 Lightning. Our mission is to provide combat-ready expeditionary aviation forces capable of deploying globally on a short notice. To get after this, we train hard. We train year-round. We are constantly refining and evaluating our Marines and sailors, our equipment, and our tactics. As I speak to you, the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing has Marines and sailors deployed around the world, ready to respond to any call, any crisis, any combat. We run our plays over and over to perfect our ability to deliver precise effects through battle space awareness, logistical support, and air superiority, to name a few. At Miramar, we are proud to be a part of the Southern California community, and we are equally proud of our part in combating California wildfires. That's what good neighbors do. As the Marine Corps continues to prepare for the future, the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing will continue to adapt and improve. Sleep tight tonight. We will keep our promise to be the most ready and the most lethal when others are not. Though I can't rattle your eardrums with my F-35, I hope you will enjoy the show. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next year in person.
Celebrating the past and its influence on the future extends across all branches of our armed forces. In 1959, an Army Brigadier General formed the precursor of today's Golden Knights. The 19 military parachutists on the team at the time helped develop modern parachuting techniques. But it was so successful as a recruiting and a public relations tool, the Army formally recognized the team 2 short years later. Watching this video, you can see why.
When you come to the air show each year, you see the performers, the aerial acts, and best of all, the Marines. But what you might not notice are the hundreds of MCCS employees working tirelessly to help us put on that show. Throughout the rest of the year, they also work tirelessly, bringing positive services to the Marines and families that live here on base. Services like what you're about to see up next. San Diego is the 8th largest city in the United States, and being one of the few Marine Corps installations in a major metropolitan area, Marine Corps Air Station Miramar has a very unique relationship with America's finest city. We got a chance to sit down with the mayor of San Diego, Mayor Kevin Faulkner.
Mayor, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
I want to know how you would describe the relationship, not only with MCAS Miramar, a relationship that's been around for close to 100 years, but also with the other military installations that reside here.
The relationship with all of our military installations is so strong, so incredibly positive. We're very proud of that in San Diego. It's not something we take for granted. Not only our active duty personnel at MCAS Miramar, Naval Base San Diego, U.S. Coast Guard, but particularly all of our veterans. It's part of the fabric of who we are as a city. The air show every year is a time for us to come together to help celebrate that, to have fun, and to reflect on how important and how lucky we are to have that strong military presence in the city and the entire region.
Alongside many of the large-scale events that happen here in San Diego, like Comic-Con, the Miramar Airshow brings in hundreds of thousands of people to your city every single year. How do you see that from your perspective?
I'll tell you, the air show is great. It's one of those great events that really brings the entire county together. I mean, over 400,000 folks in normal times. And that's great because we come together as a city, as a region, to get up close and personal with our armed forces personnel. It's fun, it's always exciting, and it's always a great way to spend the afternoon.
Do you have a favorite act or a part of the show?
Well, the Blue Angels, of course, are always a favorite, but I love the static displays as well, the chance to go up and see some of not only the most modern equipment, but equipment and planes that have been, in some cases all the way back to World War II. So it's a unique opportunity for those like myself that just love aircraft, but I think also it's a real opportunity to talk up and close with some of our active duty personnel who we are so very, very proud of.
Both the county and the city of San Diego have done comparatively well in handling the COVID pandemic. Why is that?
I'm proud of our region coming together, both the city and the county. Since day one, we took this virus very seriously, and I think the fact that our numbers, relatively speaking, have done very well really speaks volumes about how serious San Diegans have taken this, doing all of the precautions that we need to do. And again, it's not going back to normal for now, it's about the new normal and how we get through that together with one goal. How are we keeping everyone safe?
Miramar is already looking ahead to an air show in 2021, and I know you're serving your last year as mayor, but I am curious what you see in store for San Diego moving forward.
It's a different air show this year, obviously, but we're doing things, a little bit differently across the board in San Diego. But what hasn't changed this year is our support for our active duty personnel, the pride we have in our United States military, and the fact that we are so fortunate as a city and as a region to have so many of our active duty and veteran personnel. It's really what separates us as a city and as a region, and something I'm very proud of.
Mayor Faulkner, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us.
The Marine Air Ground Task Force, or MAGTF demo, is one of the biggest draws here at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar's Air Show, encompassing as many air and ground combat assets as we could put on display for the crowd. But it is more than just a show. The MAGTF is just as much a warfighting concept as it is a unit, and we're fortunate enough now to bring you a personal take on the MAGTF from two Marines who have extensive combat and deployment experience. Here's an insider's look at one reason the Marine Corps continues to be a successful warfighting organization in a complex and ever-evolving world.
I'm Major Joseph Patterson.
I'm Captain Gray Gish.
What's your call sign?
Sylvan.
How do you spell that?
Sylvan. It's a joke on how I'm not super smart. Such is life.
All right, well, Gray, what's a MAGTF?
A MAGTF is a mini version of the Marine Corps that allows the Marine Corps to be forward fixed. So comprised of the air combat element, the ACE, ground combat element, BU, Devil Dog, and then the logistics combat element, all comprised into one little umbrella that has every asset that the Marine Corps has available to it to try and employ its power against our enemies.
Hoorah. The MAGTF is the Marine Corps. Like, that is us. That's how we fight. A MAGTF it's like a team. It's scalable for any possible situation that the Marine Corps Navy team could get brought in to fix. It can be as small as a company size ground unit, and it can go all the way up to a MEF. A MEF is a MAGTF, and a MEF is 40,000 Marines, fully self-deployable, self-sustainable, ready to bring help or be someone's worst nightmare if the situation calls for it.
I think what makes the MAGTF so special is the fact that, like you were saying, it has the ability to not only be scalable but tailorable to whatever they need to do, whereas other branches may not provide such a wide variety, like humanitarian aid, disaster relief, in the same deployment. With a MAGTF, you can do some sort of hurricane relief efforts. And you can also do some sort of combat operations in different areas throughout the world. I think MAGTF, it can be on a boat, it can be on shore, it is wherever whoever's in charge of it needs it to be.
When you think, what is the Marine Corps? It's the nation's 911 force, right? So who calls 911? The President of the United States calls 911 and sends shock troops ashore. That's the Marine Corps. For sure, you know, combat operations all the way back to the 1950s, really. I think the MAGTF was established officially in 1953 and then formalized in the 60s at some point. But since then, that's how we've been fighting. Like with the advent of air and logistics, and then what really separates the MAGTF and makes it special, it's one commander in charge of that specific force. So it's all the forces that are needed to accomplish said mission under the direction of one commander. Like, it's just like Gray was talking about with scalable and varies on the mission. So if we look at recent history, embassy reinforcements, which I think you had a hand in most recently, flying in the ground combat element into an embassy reinforcement, whether it's perimeter security, embassy, fixed site security, maybe it's a natural disaster that's ravaged a country and they need the support of America. We can show up and deliver no matter what's being asked.
I think what makes the Marine Corps special and unique is whereas other branches don't necessarily get the opportunity to work as closely together with one another. So Joe and I have had an opportunity to work together for a while. Through that, we developed a friendship, which just provides stronger bonds, I think, than a lot of other things. When you hear Joe calling on the radio, or you hear somebody else that you've been on a ship with, or that you've been through a school with, or anything else, It provides a human element that isn't really written down in the clubs anywhere as to why MAGTF is successful.
And I'll kind of add on that a little bit. I think that's a great point. Is there's nothing better when you're being shot at, and you're dealing with your family members. You know, like I firmly believe we belong to two families, right? And both of which are sewn on our uniforms. And the bonds that form between men and women who fight together, there's nothing better from a former infantry officer's perspective than to pick up the handset and know the guy on the other end of it, and know that they're going to do everything that they can to get you home or bring you the things you need, and that they'll put their own lives at risk in order to protect yours. And I can tell you from a combat experience perspective, that's a great feeling to know that when I pick up that radio and I make that call for help or close air support, or I need logistics, I need more bullets, you know, or my guys are out of water and we need water, to know that that stuff's going to show up, and the person that's going to bring it, I sat next to in an interview with before, or I went to school with before. We've done planning missions before and training. We have bonds that can't be broken. What that gives the fighter on the ground is boldness, and boldness is a key aspect to winning a battle. You need courage is the great equalizer of being outnumbered. That's why you can take, 20 Marines, put them in a fight with 150 enemy, just like in Shawan, Afghanistan in 2008, and they'll come out victorious with, in this case, that specific story, no killed, but destroyed an enemy position. How is that possible? And you can go all the way back to World War II, where Marines were storming, the beaches on Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, or Peleliu. How do Marines have so much boldness? Well, it's because they know that Marines are also supporting them, and they're not going to get left there. They're going to be supported no matter what. If they get hurt, they're going to be pulled out. If they're thirsty, they're going to get water. If they're out of ammo, they're going to get it. If they need close air support, they're going to get that. And knowing that the brother or sister to your left or right is willing to go through hell to make sure that you get home and to make sure you accomplish a mission, that's what makes us so bold. And so the MAGTF the MAGTF concept allows that to happen.
We are forced to adapt because our enemies adapt. They are constantly coming up with new ways to innovate and new ways to find ways to harm our forces and our allies. And we have to stay one step ahead of them. So the future of the MAGTF is very, it looks bright, and it is very pushing the tactical corporal, all the decisions that he needs to make or she needs to make in order to make us as lethal as possible.
The innovation that has occurred in, I'd say probably the last 30 years, technology-wise, has been impressive and massive, and allows us to be a much more lethal force. So like I said before, giving my squad one word like clear and the why I need them to clear, and then letting them go was one of the best things I could ever watch them. I had a front row seat to heroism and courage, pain, love, and so on. And that's really lost if we can't communicate that during this interview, is watch it. Marines can fight, and it's something spectacular to watch. The MAGTF demo at the Marine Corps Air Station Miramar Airshow, regardless of year, is always a big hit, right? Because it kind of features all of these things that you and I are talking about, but it features it all in one very concise, closed-in box. So you get to see the F-18s, F-35s, and an aircraft that would be really delivering ordnance on an enemy objective deep. Whereas even as an infantry guy as part of MAGTF, I wouldn't see that because it's happening so far away. They bring that to you and you get to see it. You get to see some of the pyrotechnics that get brought out. So even for Marines who've fought for real, like the MAGTF demo really is our best place where you're gonna really be introduced to your Marine Corps.
One of our favorite performers got his start at Miramar by requesting to come here on static. And he was such a hit that he flew in 2018, 2019, and was supposed to be here in 2020. But if you don't know, John Melby also worked top secret black ops for the CIA, the Army Delta Force, and the Navy. Once he left the Air Force, he started his next chapter as an aerobatic pilot.
Hi, welcome to the 2020 Miramar Airshow produced webcast. My name is John Melby, a professional airshow pilot since 2002. Normally this would be my 4th airshow performing at Miramar, and unfortunately I can't fly my aircraft for you at the airshow, but maybe you're going to learn a little bit about me, my airplane, and what it is that I believe in terms of the Miramar Airshow. So welcome aboard. So when I was younger, like 10 years old, my dad wanted to learn how to fly, and I heard all these stories from him about flying. And I asked, can I go flying with you on one of your lessons? And I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, so it's by Lake Superior, it's just beautiful there. And he said, sure. And I'm like, this is so cool. And it's like a bug that bites you or something, and I'm like, I gotta fly someday, I have to do this. And since that time, I've owned an airplane at 19 years old. I've owned several different airplanes. I'm on my 7th and 8th airplane now, and really wanting to fly professionally. So I chose the path of being an airshow pilot. It fulfills that part of me that has to be a creative showman, and at the same time being real with people. And so for the rest of my life, I'll always fly. I guess the question would be, what do I love most about being an airshow pilot? I like the crowds. I'm a performer by nature, and when I'm standing there, what I like is the eye contact. If I have my flight suit on, I'm standing by my airplane, and I walk up to the crowd, all eyes are on me. So I can talk to them. I usually joke around. It's like, you know, it's my first day flying, so you guys kind of judge me on this, or do something like that. So the thing that I love about being an airshow pilot is that I can build this relationship with the crowd. And I do that before I fly because it's better if you know somebody who's a friend of yours that's doing something like that. So I build a friendship first, then I go out and fly my airplane. And after I'm done, everyone's giving me the high fives because I'm their friend. And I take them with me in some regard. The other thing too is the travel. What you see from the air, what I've seen my entire life, flying all over the place, all over North America, is just amazing. Between the oceans, the rivers, mountains, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I started flying air shows in 2002, and to become an airshow pilot's insane. I mean, there's a lot to it. And I look back at that time to where I'm at today. I'm a professional airshow pilot. I'm surface level qualified, formation aerobatic qualified, and I fly like at Miramar when there's 1.5 million people there, 500,000 people a day, and I don't really think about it that much. And the thing is, I've flown air shows throughout North America, about 240 air shows so far in the 20 years as an airshow pilot. There's nothing better. Nothing better than acquiring to fly at Miramar. Because Miramar is in San Diego, Top Gun, you always think about that. But that's something you have to work your way up into. You can't just go fly there because it's such a big air show. So of all the air shows I've flown, my favorite is flying at Miramar. The American flag and the Marines that are there, and they're defending our country, and I'm a veteran, so I just feel at home. So the military for me personally, was the greatest experience to build this foundation for the rest of my life. And I ended up flying with the 8th Special Operations Squadron on MC-130, so 4-engine turboprop. And so the work that we did was basically CIA based, and I worked with SEAL Teams 4, 6, 7, and 8, Delta Force, covert overt operations, night vision goggles, all this stuff. I'm in the military, so I had to go through SEER training, which is survival school training, prisoner of war camp training. When I'm flying at 19, 20 years old, carrying a a 9mm weapon with 3 clips of 15 hollow points going into a combat situation, you just don't know what to expect. And if you're freaking out and you're scared, it's not going to help you. Because I served my country, I've lost friends of mine in combat. I want to be a giver. I want to give back. I can take the experiences that I've had in life and convert that into helping people to achieve their dreams. And Fear Boss is really about that. Become a boss of your fear so you can achieve your dreams. So the Fear Boss is about a message, taking your gifts, your talents, figuring out what they are, the fears that you have, quarantining them, and then going after that one dream that you have and achieve it. And once you achieve that one dream and you get it, then go on to the next one and the next one. So my motto that I live by is everything happens for a reason. And I'm a strong believer in that. And that means that if you step out to go do something, there's going to be a consequence. But the beautiful thing is, overcoming fear means that you take a little side road and you go into something you've never seen before and taste it and smell it and see if it's something you can do and just keep pressing forward. So for my life, I've had, between flying special operations in the military at 19 years old, not the brightest back then, but I just did what my superiors and everyone above me who flew in Air America and Vietnam and all kinds of crazy stuff, they protected me and they actually helped build that with me to have a lot more strength at a younger age. But everything I've ever done has been able to step out with a little fear and trepidation, but yet I've been able to overcome that. And over time, by doing that multiple times in my life, I own multiple businesses, I've got multiple airplanes. Every single one of those steps is scary because it's new. And what happens is you overcome the fear by experience. Just like when you get a job for the first time, or maybe the first time you drive a car, it's scary, but then over time, you become better and better and better at it. So then the fear goes away.
The Miramar Airshow has been in existence for decades, a tradition carried on from one commander to the next. 2020 is the 3rd year for our current commanding officer, Colonel Charles Dockery. We got a chance to sit down with him and reflect on his experiences over the last few years and what 2020 means for both the air station and the airshow. Check it out. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you again for taking the time out to sit down with us today. You know, normally, I'm banging on your door asking for your time to come out and speak. And this time around, it was a little bit different because I know there's a lot of things you'd like to get out there. So we really do appreciate the time that you've made to sit down and talk to us.
No problem.
You know, 2020 has been a very unique year for the air station, obviously, and it's been very unique for most everyone across the United States. Ours started with a mission that only a handful of U.S. bases was able to support on. So I'm hoping if you could set the scene back for us in February when the air station got to support the evacuees from Wuhan, China.
Yeah, you probably remember we were at the F-35 open house, which was supposed to be the most important thing we did at the air station all year. And as that was wrapping up, Brigadier General Connolly grabbed me and pulled me aside and said, I'm hearing some word that you might be supporting, the evacuee of some American citizens here at Miramar. So just giving you a heads up. And I kind of looked at him and nodded my head and said, okay, sir, got it. And that was that. And that night I went to an Armed Services YMCA dinner. It was their 100th anniversary dinner. And on the way home from that, General Connolly called me again and he said, there'll be some planners at Miramar tomorrow. It's likely that you're going to be hosting some evacuees and, let me know what you need. And so sure enough, on Saturday, Health and Human Services folks started to show up. We got our team together with their team and figured out what the mission was going to be, and we went forward from there. It was nothing that we expected to do. I know from our perspective at Miramar, our eyes were a little bit wide at first, but I think the competence and the confidence that Health and Human Services and Centers for Disease Control brought to the table was good, and it was a very synergistic relationship. We got the mission outlined, we executed, we accomplished, and we did it so well the first time that we were asked to do it a second time with the Grand Princess passengers. So who'd have thought that we went from what was supposed to be the most important event at Miramar all year, and that event has kind of been forgotten about. And but we did it. It was a great mission, and it was a wonderful opportunity here at Miramar to provide for national defense.
So all the lessons that we learned back when we had those evacuees here from the Centers for Disease Control and Health and Human Services obviously played a part through the rest of the year because it was able to inform our experiences moving forward through COVID. What were some of the other accomplishments that we were able to have as a station throughout the year of 2020?
I think one of the accomplishments that I'm most proud of, really, for our entire team at Miramar is that we did those 2 federal quarantines, and it was a huge effort from our staff and from our team. But in and amongst all of it, we still maintained support to all of our tenant units. We didn't have to close or minimize airfield operations one iota. And I think for most of the folks aboard the air station, they didn't even realize it was going on until they turned on the news and they saw some news updates that night. And so I'm really proud of our team for that. Other accomplishments this year, we were a 2020 Secretary of Defense Environmental Quality Award winner, 2020 Secretary of the Navy Energy Award winner. We just recently were awarded the San Diego Military Advisory Council Nancy Dix Award for Achievement for the work we did during COVID. So that's a great one because it's a little bit of local recognition. So there's been a lot of achievements, and I think you never can tell where things are going to go and how things are going to pan out. And some of the things that we've done at Miramar this year, I go back to the federal quarantine, some of the things that we did there really set the stage for City of San Diego, County of San Diego response. The local community had a well-formed team before COVID hit locally, and it was because of the work we did here at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. Not necessarily just our work, but San Diego County Office of Emergency Services, San Diego County Public Health. Everyone is already here working as a team, and I think that translated well for us as a community.
Sure, obviously that's one very big way that we were able to give back to the community. But recently we've had a lot of power issues here in San Diego due to the heat and a lot of the electrical draw. So there's some things that the station was able to do to give back a little bit that way as well. Could you elaborate on that?
So our microgrid is our own plan for energy resiliency here at Miramar, so that if we lose shore power or power from SDG&E, we have our own internal resources and internal power systems that we can use to fly airplanes while SDG&E has gone dark. So the centerpiece of that is really 2 natural gas and 2 diesel engines that we have in our own power plant. And the running of those, kind of managed through the Energy Water Operations Center. And so that microgrid comes together, and it's coming together right now. And that's really built for us at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. But what we've seen recently with, kind of the power outages that we've had and power strains that we've had in California is that we've been able to respond to CAISO and the California Energy Commission and SDG&E when they come to Miramar and they ask us, can you run your power plant to take some load off the grid so that we can keep the power on outside the base? We've been able to say yes. And most recently, we were able to produce 4.8 megawatts of power for about 5 hours. And that's enough to power about 3,000 to 3,500 homes out in San Diego. We were happy to do it because we know that we have our microgrid because of great partnerships with UC San Diego, California Energy Commission all the way through. And so it just gives us an opportunity to showcase what we've been able to do here at Miramar with our teammates.
So, sir, normally we'd be doing interviews and having conversations about how excited you are for having to host the annual air show, and obviously this is a little bit different. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision to cancel the show, but I'm hoping you could walk through to our fans and those watching what your thought process was as we got closer to having to make that decision.
Yeah, it was an extremely difficult, I would say agonizing decision back in April and May when we were really wrestling with, are we going to be able to pull off an air show or not? And there was a part of me that really wanted to see the opportunity that was there for getting it done, not knowing where we were going to be with COVID and hoping that we could be in a place where we were beyond or coming out of our COVID restrictions, and what a great opportunity it would be just to offer not only the social impact of 350,000 people coming on to Miramar to see the air show, but the economic impact and the economic uplift as well. But as time went on, there were just so many factors that were outside of my control as the commanding officer of Marine Corps Air Station Miramar that it really forced us into the decision and forced me ultimately into the decision to say we're going to cancel. And I could see the events around us getting canceled as time went on. And when I kind of took a step back and said, there's just too many things outside my control, it doesn't make sense, we can't do it. It was tough. It was really tough because I really wanted to be able to do it, but I think it was the right decision.
Sure. Well, this is going to be your last year at the air station as the commanding officer. What are the things you hope to accomplish over that next year?
really what I want to do over my last year here is, it's not very glamorous, but I'm also really proud of our strategic plan. We have a strategic plan out there that carries the air station for the next 5 years, and it's my vision and my mission that I see for the air station through 2025. And I'm proud of the staff for putting that together and really taking my thoughts and my vision and really boiling it down into specific objectives and tasks that we needed to accomplish amongst all of our sections across the air station to keep us moving forward. We're all about delivering national defense. We're all about making sure that our tenant units, mostly the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing, are trained and equipped to fight in a great power competition and win in it. And so that's what I want to really accomplish over the next year, is really nail down that strategic plan, start knocking off some of those objectives and tasks, and making sure that our tenant units are ready to deploy forward, fight, and win.
Sure. So the question that we've gotten for months now, are you planning a 2021 air show? And what is personally the thing you're looking forward to the most?
We are planning a 2021 air show. I'm looking forward to getting invited back for it. I would say that up front. So San Diego, you got a year off. You know, there's no air show this year, but there is going to be a 2021 air show. And to the Miramar staff, you got a year off. There's going to be a 2021 air show, so you need to start planning for it, because I'm coming back for it, and I'm not going to be busy. I'm just going to be walking around making sure you're all doing the right thing. But it's going to be exciting. I think San Diego is going to welcome it back. I hope we get 500,000 people in here over 3 days or more, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, sir, we appreciate your time, and you know, if there's anything else that you'd like to add before we head out of here today.
I just want to thank the community of San Diego, everything that you've done for Marine Corps Air Station Miramar over the years, and again, specifically within the last year. I think we do have a great relationship with our community. I love being here. I think the Marines aboard Air Station Miramar love being in San Diego. And my thanks to all of you for making this a great tour. I've got a little bit less than a year left, so we're going to finish strong, but thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In the 1950s, Miramar fell underneath the U.S. Navy as a master jet base. That means it was a hub of aviation. It exemplified education and excellence for decades, epitomized in the film Top Gun, which was here for many years.
While the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels are now based out of Pensacola, their professionalism, precision, and skills bring aviation enthusiasts back to Miramar year after year. While 2020 has had fewer air shows for them to perform in, we managed to catch up with the team and learn what they've been up to.
Although our primary mission is flying flight demonstrations, one thing that is also coupled with that we do and that we don't get to do due to this pandemic is the community outreach. Reaching out and helping or touching the lives of those inside of each community and every air show that we get a chance to perform in. And we thought when we got together with the Thunderbirds is what is a way that we can reach out and maybe touch those lives. It's nothing more than neighbors looking out through their window pane at each other together and watching a couple flight demonstrations teams fly by and maybe increase some morale and have a visible show of support. I felt that's something that we could do together.
It's a complete honor to be able to show our support for the first responders, the healthcare workers, the medical professionals that are out there, but even beyond that, really to everybody who's doing their part to battle COVID-19. We've seen heroes emerge throughout all segments of society, whether it's the cashier, the truck driver, the police professional, the folks staying at home, socially distancing and doing their part. I think everybody has a role to play in battling COVID-19. And it has been amazing to see this country come together and fight this disease in the way that they have shown so far. Our flyovers are to honor everybody doing what they need to do to make sure that America will get through this, because we will get through this virus, because this is a strong nation. We are America strong, and we are so proud to go out there and honor everyone who is battling COVID-19 in their own way.
We really hope that you have enjoyed watching what we've put together for you.
2020 Vision is a unique show in a unique year. So thank you for your time, and we hope to see you here in 2021.
We thank you for the opportunity to invite our friends and neighbors to celebrate Marine Corps aviation with us.